of an alien source are approaching from the sky. Radio contact has been attempted but cannot be established. Instructions are to prepare for an attack by an unknown enemy.
As far as the eye can see, a plague on the surface, a disgusting swarm in the skies. With a crash of thunder, a new demon appears. Unfurling its rotten wings, it lets out a petrifying scream.
スを舐め合うと苦しいね意味求め合うと悲しいね I wanna kill myself やめてよ Zip it もう聞きたくないのキスを見せてって言えないよ覗き込んだって見えないよ I wanna kill myself やめてよ Zip it もう聞きたくない君の存在 You don't give me no say I can't control but I can't control 君の存在もう can't control 私 can't control キスを舐め合うと苦しい理由違うの全部違うの重ねたところから影になってやがて腐りゆくんだ It's wrong 認めてしまうとしまいだ理解してしまう前に繋いだだからこぼれ落ちていること That's right Now 君の存在 You don't give me no say I can't control but I can't control I can't control but I can't control You don't give me no say
Alright everybody, hello once again and welcome back to this weekend set of matches for the Mania 4Key World Cup 2022. We've got some more round of 32 action coming up with the number 1 seed Brazil versus Norway, the number 32 seed. A potential David versus Goliath match, if you will. I am going to be one of your commentators, Toph Daddy, and I am joined by Sparky. How's it going?
It is going absolutely fantastic. We've already seen some very incredible matches. A lot of the higher seeded teams really showing off why they earned the seeds that they did last weekend. And I feel like Brazil is going to be flexing on everybody with their team performances, and Norway is going to be the first team in their way to try and repeat their performance from last year.
Yeah, but they've got Norway in their way right now, managing to qualify after, I believe, not qualifying last year. So they're getting a chance to play in this bracket stage. Potentially an unfortunate position for them to have to face Brazil as their first opponent, but you know, they have their own skill sets, and I'm really interested to see what kind of approach they're going to take in, you know, their attempts to take down Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like to say, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. And what better first test than the absolute juggernaut that is Brazil? We saw it in the qualifier seeding reveal that Brazil swept basically every single category, getting first in 7 of 8 of the maps, SV being the only one they got second in. So not a lot of weaknesses in this roster, and I believe you threw out that little tidbit that they did all of those qualifications without arguably their best player in Silly Fangirl.
They sure did, and that is already an impressive statement by itself. I'm quite interested to wait, was that 2 rolls that Amaram got 67 twice, or was that just a repeat?
I think that was just Bancho repeating the message. That would be very impressive if they got the same roll twice. But
Silly
unfortunately,
Bancho.
Yeah, Silly Bancho. But unfortunately, not going to be enough to beat the 71 from Fast here. So Norway going to be winning the roll.
Indeed, so Norway will be getting the second ban, first pick of this match. Brazil going to be getting that first ban for losing that role, and I'm not totally sure what to expect out of a ban. Maybe one of the more risky picks. Okay, actually, I should have expected SVs to get banned. That was my fault. But Gypsophilia coming out as the ban from Brazil, and Norway will get an opportunity to ban before they get their first pick in this match.
Yeah, now the interesting thing would be if Norway follows suits on the SV bans. I always feel like SV for lower seeded teams seems to be that nice little wild card to keep up the sleeve. You can always pull out a bit of surprise, but it remains to be seen here. Definitely taking a second to ensure what their ban is going to be here.
Yeah, I would personally expect to see an LN ban, maybe Xeria getting banned out here from Norway, or Feel My Rhythm. I believe Norway had a very strong showing with the Rice section, so I think they're going to want to keep that open. So either hybrids or LNs, I think, is going to be the way to go for Norway in the bans. But the first SV map gets banned out now. We are having an SV-less match here.
Oh boy, so no SV, no tricky mapping to contend with here. We're just gonna do it straight between the main 3 categories: Rice, hybrids, and LNs. Let's see what Norway decides to start this match off with. As you said, they did fare a little bit better on the Rice side of the pool in the qualifiers. Would not be surprised to see them trend towards that upper half of the map pool here.
Absolutely, and maybe to start, just go with something a little bit more straightforward, though Brazil did have extremely strong accuracy scores. Maybe want to avoid those more straightforward Rice picks and go with something more on the technical side, like Cutter, that where, misses are more possible from a team like Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. But it looks like it's going to be Black Lawn Finale, so Rice 4 are going to be the first pick for Norway to try and make some inroads against Brazil here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were right about, going for those tech picks, going for something a little bit more complex in its structure, trying to catch Brazil off guard just a little bit. But we'll have to see if this ends up working out. Like we have said, Brazil, an extremely strong team. They're number 1 seed for a reason.
Yeah, so right now, Brazil are going to decide what their lineup is going to be. They have, it's basically pick of the litter. All 6 of these players can probably put up some incredible scores on a map like this. Norway going to be running the lineup of Zekrons, Fast, and Carpal Tunnel. They only have 4 players, so only 1 person in reserve for them.
Yeah, and it looks like we have Amaram and Lothus on the Brazilian side. Orost has joined the lobby. It looked like they were trying to get Silly Fangirl, but Orost is also a very solid Rice player in their own right. Very good at the accuracy side of things, so I'm not surprised to see them coming in for Black Lawn Finale.
Yeah, absolutely. So now all that's left is to wait for the players to get ready. Want to make sure all the mods, the scroll speeds, are in their proper places. Don't want to start a map off, especially the first map of your tournament life, on the wrong foot here. So once we get that all settled.
Would certainly be an unfortunate way to start off the match here, especially after not quite making it to the bracket stage last year, on Norway's side, I should say. Definitely want to get that right foot forward for this first match.
Yep, saw a brief flash of Demi making their appearance in the lobby for Brazil. Might just be some last-minute substitutions, wanting to make sure. And right on cue, here comes Silly Fangirl, the actual final boss for Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. And assuming these are our 6 players that we'll be seeing for a Black Line finale, we should be able to get into this first map of Brazil versus Norway very shortly. And it looks like that MP settings is coming out.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure everyone is ready. Always get the adrenaline going. You forget to hit that ready up button and you inadvertently delay proceedings.
Yeah, and there's the start command. Here we go. Map number 1 out of a possible 9 in Brazil versus Norway. Number 1 versus number 32 seeds. And we'll have to see how Norway is going to be able to fare against this Goliath of an opponent.
And as we get everything synced up here, it looks like everybody is loaded in. It's going to be this first map of this best of 9, I believe.
Yes, best of 9, first to 5, and it looks like a pretty sizable accuracy advantage already coming out for Brazil. Carpal tunnel dropping below that 99 at the beginning. RS fast also a little bit below that 99% now, trying to build it back up, but all 3 of the Brazilian players at 99.94 or higher. Lothus holding on to a pace, on pace for 999k up to this first quarter of the map.
Yeah, it just goes by in an instant. The lead is already very much in the side of Brazil, but Oros finding the first miss here.
That is a miss from Brazil, but it looks like the accuracy lead was enough and is going to continue to be enough to keep that lead in the favor of the Brazilian side, unfortunately. But that's an interesting thing to see out of Brazil, already missing on more accuracy-focused maps. Potentially something to take note of, especially for other teams that will end up facing them later on. RS Fast trading that miss back. So Oros miss is not going to be as impactful anymore, especially now that they're up to the 400 combo mark.
Yeah, and even despite that miss, already climbing back in accuracy up into that 99.88% mark. And I mean, it was just a small blip on a marvelous performance. This team score from Brazil is going to be massive. Norway doing their absolute best to try and stay within lockstep, but the overall accuracy paling in comparison to their Brazilian counterparts. And as we make it to this last quarter of the map, it's 2 full combos apiece for both sides, but it's really just the accuracy doing the damage for Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're approaching the final few notes of this, and it looks like Brazil will be taking this first point in the match. And Lothus climbing to the 99.98% right at the end. That's going to be a 999k right out of the gate for Lothus, and a victory for Brazil on the first map of this match.
26 300s. So basically setting the bar a little bit high for the rest of the teams. The gauntlet has been thrown. Brazil is here to play.
Yeah, you could say that. I think that's a fair thing to say, that Brazil is here to play. Oros not doing too bad themselves with that 51-300 mark, just with the miss. And Silly Fangirl, 73. So a 3-way, 2-digit 300 score. And with one miss, still getting 2.985 million from Brazil with a miss.
Yeah, absolutely. This team is just, I mean, we're going to run out of superlatives to describe this team as the tournament progresses. It is going to be a wonder to see who can rise up to challenge Brazil. And it looks like they're going to take things down a notch. They're going to go down into that lower half of the map pool. It is going to be Xeria coming out for their first pick.
Absolutely not a surprising pick coming out from Brazil. They have extremely strong long note players. I mean, you know, they have too many good long note players. Like, Lothus is an extremely good long note player. Amaram's good. Demifiend's good. Marcinho's good. Silly Fandrel's good. All are incredible long note players. How do you even choose between 3 for that?
That is a tall order. I feel like for them it just comes down to who enjoys the song more after a certain point, who has the lowest amount of mind block on particular patterns found in songs. They are spoiled for choice, and Norway looks like no substitutions from them as Xeria gets loaded up. And it looks like right on cue we're going to see a substitution. Demi coming in.
Yeah, and Lothus swapping out, likely for Marcinho is who I'd expect to come in, especially having seen Silly Fangirl also be swapped out. So that's going to be a full team swap from Brazil for this long note pick, with no substitutions with that 4th player on the side of Norway. But it looks like these will be the teams going into Xeria for Brazil's first pick in this match.
Yeah, and as we wait for the teams to get ready, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, with long note picks, there's always that risk of chopping off some of those releases, maybe letting go of a button too early, some slider breaks making their way into performance. But with how consistent Brazil is, might be hard-pressed to find those. If Norway can contest, however.
Yeah. First notes coming in, we'll see how the accuracies are able to fare on both sides and what to expect out of these teams when it comes to long notes. Some simpler patterns, but some tricky releases there with the more extended long notes catches the Norwegians off guard just a little bit. I think it caught Amaram off guard just a little bit as well, but that accuracy advantage already showing pretty strong for Brazil here.
Yeah, absolutely. Where one finds a tiny dip, and I'm talking about like the tiniest of dips in accuracy. They have so much support from their other teammates that it's just a tiny blip on the radar. Norway hanging strong here. One player in that 98% range going to be buoying the lead for the Brazilians as we make our way into the back half of the map, but still 6 full combos on the board as we make our way deeper into Xeria. And as I say that fast, being the first one to drop, and oh boy.
You just had to curse it. But holding on to 5 full combos now, I actually didn't notice this at first, but Marcinho on that mirror, either, a little bit more comfortable on the mirror or has mind blocked this at some point in the past. But look at that accuracy from Demifiend, 99.97. Are we going to see a 999k on a long note release-based chart? I don't... Okay, it's dropped below the pace, but I'm still worried.
And there's still room to climb. A quarter of the map still left to go. It's probably just the 300 separating them from that 999k mark. But that being said, it's going to take a lot for Norway to make their way back into this. This is definitely not in their court as we make our way to the end of this map. It's going to take a total team collapse from Brazil to hand this point over, and I don't think they're in a mood to do something like that. Another drop from Fast is probably going to be a nail in the coffin for this pick, and it looks like Brazil is going to move up 2-0.
What's that score? 2.992?
48.
How do you do that?
There are no weaknesses. We're going to be flabbergasted, flummoxed, and just at a loss for words to describe these performances.
I thought this team was good last year.
They somehow managed to get even better. And that's saying something, given how dominant they were last year. And Norway is just basically feet to the fire as Brazil moves up 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough map. We saw 2 full combos on the side of Norway, and that's already pretty impressive from them. But what do you do against a team with a player like Demifiend who's going to get 50 300s on a release chart?
At that point, you just tip your cap. It's like close and just move on to the next one. I mean, the good thing for Norway is that they're playing with 0 pressure. There is no expectations for them here. And they can kind of just play with house money. Just pick the songs you like, pick the ones that you're most comfortable on, and just put on the best performance as a team that you can. with that being said, they do need to make a pick here. They're probably going to opt to stick to what they know and continue with these rice-based charts. Would not be surprised to see someone like Cutter come out, but it looks like they're going to stay with the LNs. They're going to pick into some of Brazil's strengths, and it's going to be Almagest here.
Going for more long notes, which is an interesting strategy. I guess they got a little bit scared of that accuracy we saw in Black Lawn Finale, or maybe they're just having a little bit of fun, you know, seeing again the accuracies on everything from Brazil, just absolutely demolishing it. And I mean, this is also a really interesting way to kind of look at the structure of the map pool, because you're looking at the LN density, so you don't need to have as good of release capabilities or coordination to be able to do well on this, which I think is a really interesting attacking point on the side of Norway.
Yeah, absolutely. As things get denser, you can kind of afford to just let the fingers fly a little bit. It becomes a little bit like a rice chart in some instances, especially as we get later into the tournament. These density picks going to be able to be more accessible by more rice-oriented players. But it looks like everybody is ready. No substitutions from either side. Norway going to try and do their best to pick up a point here against this powerhouse that is Brazil on Almagest, of all things.
Yeah, and also interesting to note, this is only 1 minute and 37 seconds, so a miss is going to be a lot more damaging to a player's score if it does happen. Maybe that's the angle that they're trying to go, see if Brazil finds a miss and hopefully take advantage of that huge score difference that's going to happen as a result. But just before that 400 combo mark, Fast finds the first break of the match, and Brazil is already looking like they're starting to run away with this a quarter in, and that is a second miss on the side of Norway.
Yeah, a valiant effort to start this map off. It was looking really close. The accuracies were going to start evening out just a little bit, but all three Brazilian players holding strong at that 99.9% mark. It was going to take a couple of blunders from the Brazilian side, but their consistency so far this match has been second to none, as Norway being taken to task here a little bit as we make our way to the back half of the map. The highest accuracy on their side, Zekron's doing their best, 99.5, and still holding on to the sole full combo left for Norway.
Yeah, and as you say, there are Fast finds another miss, but Zekron's also breaks that final full combo on the side of Norway, and that was a full team drop on the side of Norway, and Brazil is just looking as strong as ever with 3 full combos, all above 99.9. Demi-Fiend again with the insane accuracy, but this ending really not treating Norway well, and that's going to be a 3rd point for Brazil here.
Yeah, a valiant effort from the Norwegians. Unfortunately, didn't pay off in the end, but definitely do commend the bravery in trying to do something different here as Brazil 2993.
That was even better than the last score.
3 V1SSs. This is bordering on ridiculous from Brazil.
And that wasn't even Brazil's pick. That was Norway's pick. Now Brazil gets the choice of what to play next, and if they're going to follow their pick of Xeria at first, I think they're just going to go with that final long note pick that's open. I can't really see anything else coming out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. They might go back into the rice, maybe do another team swap, just to let some other players get their time in the spotlight. But to be fair, they have absolute pick of the litter. There is nothing in this map pool that seems to trouble this Brazilian roster.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I said that they're probably going to go with that last long note pick. We haven't seen a whole lot of hybrids coming out of the teams here so far this weekend, and I'm sure that the Brazilians would be very, very strong on those as well. So I could see Q Shell coming out, or So I Blue, which I don't think has been played at all this weekend yet. So I'd be interested to see that come out.
Yeah, it would be hard-pressed to find any picks for So High Blue. Maybe on one of the matches that wasn't streamed, if anybody wants to dig around in the MP links from the matches that have gone on so far. But I know Q-Shell has been played. I don't believe we've seen Rice 1 either, definitely being avoided. But Q-Shell is going to be the pick, so your prediction correct, wanting to opt for those hybrids here.
Yeah, and Brazil looking to bring this match to match point, hoping to get that 4th point and swapping out Marcinho for Silly Fangirl here, and I'm not exactly sure who the Brazilian roster is going to put on for the hybrids. It looks a little cut and dry for the long notes and for just the pure rice, but these hybrids is where it's going to get really interesting watching the Brazilian team form their teams. And it looks like there are no swap outs for Norway up to this point, keeping the same 3 players in that they've had for the entire match, and just looking for a way in.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Norway trying to defend against Brazil's picks, it's one of those just hang on for dear life and try and see if you can keep the consistency up. Really, if you can just full combo your way through, that's basically the bar right now, to try and make some inroads in these Brazilian performances, because you never know, they could find a miss somewhere throughout the map, and it looks like we are going to see a couple more substitutions. Lothus coming in, so I mean, you replace one, you see one player leave, and you see a replacement for Brazil, and it's just like, oh dear lord.
Yeah, and it looks like Demi may be staying in for this hybrid pick, just waiting on that MP settings and MP start command coming out from our ref so that we can get into the 4th map of this match.
Yeah, and as we wait, it'll be interesting to see how other teams looking at Brazil right now are taking this information, the scorers in this round of 32 map pool, just seeing like what they can do to try and approach Brazil, because I mean, some of these teams are gonna have to play these guys later on in the tournament. I believe our next match is gonna be determining who goes up against them. With that being said, we do have the MP settings coming out. The MP start command goes out. We are ready to go into this 4th map of this best of 9. Brazil up 3-0. Norway trying to find a way in here to try and notch their first point on the board.
Yeah, here we go on this opening. Some little trip-ups from Fast on that opening. A little bit of an accuracy drop from Zekrons as well, giving Brazil the early lead here. But Demi Fiend not having the best start themselves, dropping down to that 99.5 for a little bit. Carpal Tunnel keeping up with Demi up to this point, but the accuracy lead from Brazil is still there coming into the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. As Fast tries to make their way back up into that 99% mark, we did see 2 accuracy drops from Demi and Silly at that start of the map, but doing very well to recover as we make our way into the 2nd quarter of the map. Still 6 full combos left on the board in this lobby.
Yeah, and I mean, most of the difficulty we've seen so far is just from the bursts in that intro. We'll get some more constant streaming in this 2nd section here, but the ending will introduce some long notes, and I'm interested to see where those accuracies end up for these players when that starts coming around. Demi Fiend having done a very good job bringing that accuracy back up almost to the 99.9s as RS Fast finds a break there. I mean, staying below the 99, but still climbing their accuracy up. And Carpal Tunnel doing a very strong performance here with that 99.65.
Yeah, we had Zekrons in earlier maps doing the heavy lifting for Norway. It looks like it's Carpal Tunnel doing the work here. And as I say, they do find a drop going into the last quarter of the map, and I am just going to keep my mouth shut now. I seem to be delivering these curses free of charge for Norway.
It's only on Norway. Can you curse Brazil? Like, you've done it twice to Norway, and that's the wrong team to curse here.
I will do my best. Lothus is doing absolutely fantastic right now. 99.95, highest in the lobby, as his Brazilian teammates climb up to meet him here in that 99.9% mark. But the map is coming to a close. It would take an absolute collapse here from Brazil to hand any sort of semblance of a point to Norway, and it is not going to happen. The consistency too strong from this Brazilian lineup to make it 4-0 now.
Yeah, 2 V1SSs from the side of... Actually, sorry, that's not a V1SS from Demi Fiend. but a better ratio from Demifine than Lothus. Still a dominant performance coming out for that 4th pick from Brazil. And it is match point right now. Norway backed up into a wall, but it is their pick, and they have the choice of what they want to attack Brazil with in this, final gambit moment, potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Backs against the wall. Don't really have a lot of room to play with here. Might as well go out with something or try and attack with something that you might be able to pull a fast one on. Unfortunately, both SVs have been banned, so not a lot of opportunity to take advantage of those. Maybe go with something more straightforward. The rice picks are there. LN3 is there as well. Still High Blue, which hasn't been picked yet so far this weekend, is also there. There are some maps that could potentially pose some problems for Brazil, but their overall consistency is just like, what do you do against it?
Yeah, you said that So High Blue hasn't been picked. Asymmetry also hasn't been picked, which I think could potentially give Brazil a couple of issues just on that consistency front, because speed is not the easiest to get consistent accuracy on, nor is it easy to consistently FC, especially with some of the awkward patterns for that. So I'd be interested to see that pick, but it is going to be Guy Runs as the next pick from Norway for map number 5.
Yep, map number 5 locked in. Guy runs at 300 kilometers per hour. And oh boy, like I said earlier, backs against the wall. Gotta throw out something that sticks. It's gonna have to be a reverse sweep now from Norway if they want to try and take this match. It is a mountain to climb, but no better time to start than now, as we see some more substitutions coming out from Brazil. We see Orost checking back in.
Yeah, we've got the Rice squad that we saw for the first pick in this match coming back. Lothus, Silly Fangirl, and Orost. No swaps out from Norway here. Sticking with the same crew they've had for the last 4 picks. And they've got to start picking something up right now, or else they're going to be knocked into that loser's bracket.
Yeah, and to your point, the good thing is this is the first round of the tournament, so just going to be knocked down into that lower bracket. No eliminations just yet. That'll be reserved for next weekend once we get into round of 16. So can definitely take solace in that fact if this pick doesn't go Norway's way.
Yeah, absolutely. They will already have an extra chance to perform, not against a team as dominant as Brazil, even if they are knocked into that loser's bracket. So really good news for them, even though their backs are up to the wall. We'll have to see how they're able to perform on Guy Runs like I said, a potential final gambit against Brazil here. That said, I am really interested to see how Brazil does on this as well, because if you remember from qualifiers, their Nachman core, they had, I think, triple 998 with one of their players hitting that 999k, and this one is this map is a little bit of a similar structure to Nachman core, a little bit easier, a little bit slower than that map, so I could definitely see an absolutely ridiculous accuracy score coming out of this Brazilian roster.
Yeah, I can definitely see that coming as Carpal Tunnel finds the first drop here, and that hill has become a mountain to climb for Norway. They were holding the highest accuracy, now trying to regain it as they climb back up into that 99% range, as Brazil, 99.98 is the lowest accuracy for this roster so far. Somebody please stop this team. This is bordering on disgusting. Orost briefly touching that 100% mark as we make our way into the second quarter of the map. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Lothus hitting the 99.99 to join Orost up to this point. 2 full combos remaining on the side of Norway as we get into this first break. Highest accuracy on that side is 99.5, holding on to some pretty strong accuracy, but it's not going to be enough with that absolutely disgusting 3-way score from Brazil up to this point.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of 200s coming out from Fast here, but still 2 full combos to work with on the side of Norway, doing their best to keep up. And I mean, to be fair, these are not bad scores in the grand scheme of things. 99.4, 99.5, definitely some incredible performance. Carpal Tunnel coming right back up as well, 99.45. But in the face of a machine that is Brazil, 99.98, as we've been saying, is the lowest mark for any of their 3 players, and we're already halfway into the map.
My mouth has been open this whole time.
Oh, Lotus
Lotus finds a miss. So unfortunate, but that is going to mean 2 full combos on each side. Lotus trying to build that up, but it does not look like that miss is going to change really all that much about this score difference between the two teams. Just slows down the gaining that Brazil was having before.
Yeah, absolutely. And that being said, Lotus already on that climb, already in the mid 99.8. Zekrons is going to find a drop here going into the back half of the map, but the writing has been on the wall since the very beginning. This consistency out of Brazil has been one for the ages. An incredible team score so far, just marred by that one miss from Lotus as we make our way into the last third of the map.
Yeah, getting into the final break of the map. Still 1 full combo on the side of Norway to the 2 on Brazil. Lotus coming back from that miss very well, almost up to that 99.9% range again. But it really does not matter when your teammates are at 99.97 and 99.99% accuracy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a blip on the radar of an incredible team score in the makings. About a minute of map left to go last quarter. I mean, what more can you say? This is an absolute clinic how to put on a team performance from Brazil. Norway doing everything in their power to try and muster up something against this absolute behemoth. We see some incredible performance, some incredible recoveries as well from early misses. Carpeltonen at 99.6 range, Fast 99.5, and Zekron's not too far behind at 99.3, but unfortunately it is not going to be enough as Brazil starts to make their way into this ending of the map. And I mean, what more can you say now?
There really is not much that you can say to describe the Brazilian roster properly. Pretty much anything you say is underestimating how good these guys are. And we're only seeing their early game scores up to this point.
Yeah, this is but a precursor of what is to come. These guys scale very well into the late game, and they're going to take this match 5-0 against Norway.
999.5k from Orost, 999.0 for Silly Fangirl. Yeah. 2.99 million with a miss? Yeah? Does that sound normal to you?
For Brazil, yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe you're right about that.
But
I've lost words.
Yeah, we are going to run out of ways to describe just how coherent and how dominant this Brazilian roster is. But fair play to Norway. They gave it a shot. They put their best foot forward, and they will be dropping down into that lower bracket where they look to try and make the run. And Brazil going to move on into that round of 16 in the winner's bracket. But with that being said, that'll do it for us for right now. We do have another match coming up at the top of the hour, and I feel like, Toph, this is one that a lot of folks have penned down to be the match of the weekend.
Yeah, it certainly should be on your radar for really good matches. We've got Spain versus Chile coming up, and if you were interested in the results of this previous match, this is especially important because this match will determine the opponents that we'll be seeing for both Brazil and Norway in the round of 16. The winner of this upcoming match will be facing Brazil next weekend, and the loser will be knocked into the loser's bracket to face Norway there. And also worth noting, this is Seed 16 versus Seed 17. So 2 teams that are extremely close in overall skill and performance that we saw from those qualifiers, and it's not going to be one that you're going to want to miss. It is going to be happening in 26 minutes, so you don't even have to wait too long for it.
Yep, get some water, get some stretches in, maybe play a little bit of OS in the meantime, and we'll see you guys in 26 minutes.
advice and did the opposite, just being young and stupid. Oh, I haven't been all that you could have hoped for, but if you'd held on a little longer, you'd have had more reasons to be proud. Oh, so many questions, but I'm talking to myself. I know that you can't hear me anymore, not anymore. So much to tell you, and most of all the fact that I know that you can't hear me anymore. It's so loud inside my head with words that I should have said as I drown in my regrets. I can't take back the words. The longer I stand here, the louder the silence. I know that you're gone, but sometimes I swear that I hear your voice where the wind blows. So I talk to the shadows, hoping you might be listening, 'cause I want you to know it's so loud inside my head with words that I should have said as I drown in my regrets. I can't take back the word I never said, never said. I can't take back the words I never said, never said. I can't take back the words I never said.
any time of my energy. Born with the knowledge of a horde of a lion, they gon' have a hard time to define or to find us. And I'd rather die fresh, fuck, give you fake fucks any time of my energy. Born with the knowledge of a horde of a lion, they gon' have a hard time to define or to find us. And I'd rather die fresh, fuck, give you fake fucks any time of my energy. Born with the 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 fucks any time of my energy.
When I feel down, I try not to forget and look around. It's a beautiful place. It's not always easy living in this world, but I know it's up to me, and I am never giving up. I swear I hold on. I'm holding on. around. It's a beautiful place.
Ever-changing, the knowing feeling could make you fall from the dreamy skies. Suddenly the deepness can get through when you live a life without a clue. And you're looking into cold green eyes. Ever-changing, the knowing feeling could make you fall from the dreamy skies. Suddenly the deepness can get through. Realize I'll fall along with you. And I'm looking into cold green eyes. And I'm looking into cold green eyes. を舐め合うと苦しいね意味求め合うと悲しいね I wanna kill myself やめてよ zip it もう聞きたくないの傷を見せてって言えないよ覗き込んだって見えないよ I wanna kill myself やめてよ zip it もう聞きたくない You don't give me no say I can't control but I can't control Give me someday more can't control but I can't control 傷を舐め合うと苦しい理由違うの全部違うの重ねたところから影になってやがて腐りゆくんだ It's wrong, it's wrong 認めてしまうとしまいだ理解してしまう前に繋いだ後からこぼれ落ちていること That's right And now 君の存在 You don't give me no say I can't control but I can't control
Hello, everybody, once again for some more Osimania 4Key World Cup 2022 round of 32 action. We've got one more match in the block. We've got the same commentary crew as we had prior. It's me, Tove Danny, with Sparky again. How you feeling about this match?
I feel like we are in for a bit of a show. This is as close as two teams can be. It is seed 16, Spain, going against seed 17, Chile, and I feel like this could potentially go all the way. I don't know about you, Tove.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a tiebreaker, this is the match that you'd expected on the most. Like you said, one seed apart in this round of 32. Both teams having some pretty impressive players. Chile with Muka as their captain, especially being, that force behind them. But, Spain overall performing better on the qualifiers than Chile. So we'll have to see how this match goes by and how these two teams plan on strategizing for their picks and their bans. I am actually really interested to see if either of these teams opt to, keep SVs open, given that there's other things to potentially ban. But Chile, having lost the role, does get that first ban and goes for SV2 as their first ban, and Spain will get their opportunity to ban for themselves and then go into their first pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And continuing the trend so far this weekend, no love for that SV2 pick. Gypsophila is going to be the ban for Chile, as Spain goes into a little bit of a deliberation, probably want to ensure that they have the right plan of attack with regards to the bans, whether or not they want to ban that SV1 or if they want to go somewhere else. And it looks like it's going to be Rice 1, Asymmetry, going to be getting knocked out of this pool.
Another one of the maps in this pool that's just gotten no love this weekend. Been banned a couple times, and I don't think has been picked yet. Same with So I Blue. But Gypsophilia, we actually did get a chance to see at least once today. So it's just those two maps left that we haven't seen. And with So I Blue and the potential for this match to go very far, I think the chance of seeing that now in this match is pretty high.
Yeah, absolutely. The margin between these two teams, I feel like the skill sets between them also overlap so nicely that you put them in two circles, they're basically right on top of each other. And it'll be interesting to see what Spain decides to go for their first pick. Gonna really set the tone for this match moving forward.
Yeah, with that SA2 ban from Chile, I wouldn't be surprised to see Firestarter. And yeah, right as I was about to say it, Spain decides to make that Firestarter pick here, and we'll be going straight into SVs, getting them out of the way as early as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to opt to strike a match here, get off to a bit of an explosive start against Chile. It's going to be interesting to see what the lineups are going to be. So right now, as it stands, we have Quenula, it's Darius 555 and Enthalpy going against Miuka, Kniflocks, and Wrist CL. Going to be interesting to see if we have any substitutions now that the pick has been thrown down.
Yeah, don't quite see any substitutions happening yet. Okay, there is one on the Spanish side. We've got Quenla and Enthalpy staying in up to this point. We're seeing some good lucks in the chat already, but I think we need to wait for that last player to be in position for Spain before we can get started.
Yeah, don't want to get into a 2v3 situation to kick off this match. That'd be kind of silly to kick things off, or to kick off your tournament run. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody like Crewcake Fanboy come in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, but we gotta wait. We gotta make sure that Crewcake Fanboy is actually in the server and able to join the match.
Yeah, a little bit of an MP ad here situation from our referee. Going to be able to take care of that in just a moment. SV, always interesting to watch. One of those where you can find yourself getting an FC run pretty consistently, but getting that good accuracy while reading through all of the stutters, all the little tricks and roadblocks that the map tries to throw at you. It's going to be very interesting to see how these teams overall perform on this pick.
Yeah, and noteworthy about this, I believe Spain actually had an extremely strong SV score in the qualifiers. I'll need to double check that, but if I remember correctly, it was very, very good. Number 5 or something like that. So a strong SV team overall, and probably a good way to start off this match, if I'm remembering this correctly.
Yeah, that sounds about right, and it definitely does seem like it plays into their hands. I mean, the good thing is that your opponent can only get rid of one of the SV picks, so it looks like Crew K Fanboy is here, so probably going to round out this Spanish composition, and we can probably start getting the readying up and that MP start command.
I want to correct what I said. They were not number 5 on SV. They were number 3 on SV. So,
oh, even better.
Even better. Very scary to see. Chile having gotten number 13 on the SV pick, so a little bit behind that, but this was obviously Spain's pick here. Chile having banned the other SV map, so not surprising at all to see this coming out as the game plan out of the gate for Spain.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like the players just readying up here, want to make sure everything's in order with these SV picks. Definitely a lot of variance in terms of how you want to approach them. Don't want to have your settings incorrect. The MP start command is going out. We're going to get into this first map of this best of 9. It is going to be Firestarter, our SV1 pick. See how the players do.
Yeah, here we go. Map number 1 out of a possible 9. Getting the SVs out of the way as early as possible, says Spain, hoping to get that momentum started for them and to push forward to potentially have a lead for their first pick here. But early burst gives trouble to Enthalpy. I believe there were a couple of small accuracy issues on the side of Chile as well, but Enthalpy dropping more than everyone else in that first little pattern, but catching back up to Riz now, and it looks like Spain has that early accuracy lead just in the first few notes, though. We've got 3 minutes of map left still.
Yeah, absolutely. And with a map as light as this one is, misses are going to be something to avoid here. Heck, even 200s or 100s are going to want to be avoided because there's just so little room for recovery, even though this map is a whopping 3 minutes long, already approaching the second quarter of the map, and these players are in neck and neck with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Very solid accuracy coming from pretty much anyone. The one difference right now looks like it's Brazil down at that 99.5 range, whereas everyone else is in the 99.8. Yuka having dropped, I think, at 200. They're dropping below the 99.7s as well themselves. Spain looking extremely strong on the accuracy side of things and having a pretty significant lead after that first section, going into more of a lighter section here, reliant on keeping rhythm, and we can already see some ghost taps coming out from Enthalpy to keep that rhythm going, but no major mistakes up to this point in this section.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the back half of the map, everybody's staying relatively clean. Riz finding the only miss out of all 6 players going into it. It's going to be buoying the lead for Spain. And it looks like the overall accuracies have started to round out just a bit. Everybody on that Spanish roster holding on strong in that 99.8% range. Chile not too far behind though, 99.7s, with Riz really catching up right now with that 99.5.
Yeah, and Riz has gotten to that 400 combo mark, which means that they're not losing any ground anymore off of that miss. Potentially requiring a miss from Spain or multiple misses from Spain in order for Chile to come back, but it's definitely reachable, especially with this last section. I think having some of the more difficult patterns in this map a little bit hard to follow in some places, especially with the very sporadic changing teleport patterns.
Yeah, so it can definitely get caught out, especially on those holds. Once the actual teleport comes through, very easy to overhold and spike a miss on them. But so far, 5 out of 6 players staying clean. Riz finding another drop here, and it looks like that's going to be a nail in the coffin on this run, unless Spain has a collapse here at the end. Last sliver of map left to go, and right now the lead is extending for Spain, and they're looking very comfortable so far on their first pick here.
Absolutely, and we're approaching the final few patterns, and we're seeing over 20,000 points of difference between these two teams. Pretty cut and dry for Spain. A good start to this match for them as they get their first point in this match out of the possible 9 maps that we'll be seeing in this match.
Yeah, very consistent scores overall across the board, separated by ratio and those couple of misses. But thankfully for Chile, that was Spain's pick, though. Nothing to get too upset over. They are going to have an opportunity to try and notch this up with their first pick here.
Absolutely, and let me I need to look back at these qualifiers to see where these teams are particularly solid. Chile having done pretty well on the hybrids and long notes comparatively to the rice, so I could see them potentially going for that, especially against a team like Spain, which was a little bit weaker on those sides. But it really depends what these players are more comfortable with in this pool.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see something like Feel My Rhythm or Xeria coming up, but it's going to be Black Lawn Finale to kick things off for Chile, opting to go into something a little bit more techy on that rice side of the pool.
Yeah, going for a rice pick as opposed to the long notes, which they seemed a little bit more comfortable on in the qualifiers at least. But in this case, I would guess that this is just an attempt to, really get that accuracy bonus that Muka is going to bring, especially on these rice picks.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have somebody like them, you definitely want to ride their strengths as much as you can, provide that support, because you know that they're going to be able to deliver those consistent performances for your team. We're already seeing some substitutions coming out from Spain. It's Darius555 checking in for Quenya here.
Yeah, and we've got Niflox and Zan in for Chile here for this rice pick. I'm not sure if this is what I will expect for the 6 players that we'll be seeing, but we're not really seeing any more swap outs, so this might be who we're seeing for Black Lawn Finale, the second map in this match.
Yeah, surprised we're not seeing somebody like Goldak coming in for Spain. Very prominent rice player for their country. So, I mean, this might be the team for Spain, might be more comfortable on this as well. It just comes down to preference at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it looks like our ref has given the start command, so this will be the 6 players going in for Black Lawn Finale, and we'll see if Chile is able to take that point right back on their first pick in this match.
And as we wait for everything to sync up here, we want to make sure all 6 players are in. Looks like everybody managed to make it in. See how these players do. See if Spain can take that first break point or if Chile can keep everything notched up. And already right out of the gates, we see a couple of accuracy drops dropping down into that 99.7 range for a couple of players. And they'll be needing to pick up the pace just a little bit, maybe finding a little bit of an accuracy drop. But as this map progresses, we see Miyuka finding the first drop here.
Definitely not what we want to see out of the gate. We were already saying that Miyuka is kind of that rock, but that miss was in the first 400 combo, so it's not going to be as detrimental as a miss from here on out from any of these players would be. But that accuracy is still extremely strong on Miyuka's side and could serve to help bring that lead back, especially now that Miyuka is getting back to that 400 combo mark.
Yeah, definitely going to be able to make some inroads here on the lead, especially since the supporting combos from Niflox and Zan are a little bit higher than their Spanish counterparts. That being said, as these bursts come out, I was about to say Crew K Fanboy was holding on to quite a bit of an impressive accuracy, but did fall just a little bit. And it's going to be giving Chile a bit of inroads back in, especially now as Miyuka starts to climb, and we're starting to see a bit of tug of war on that leaderboard as we make it into the last third of the map.
Yeah, the sheer accuracy advantage definitely giving Chile an in on this map, but that's a second miss on the Chilean side. We've got Zan, a double drop from him as well, and 3 full combos on the side of Spain is giving them quite the lead. Zan having some more issues, a third miss there, and that might just lock it up unless there are some pretty major mistakes on the side of Spain.
Yeah, that one looked like a bit of discomfort as the density started to ease up just a bit, finding a couple of drops in a row, and it's going to be enough for Spain to take the first break point in this match and make it 2-0.
And that's 2-0 going back to their own picks. So that's a lot of momentum that Chile may have just given Spain, and that is not going to be looking too good.
Yeah, absolutely. And can we talk about 19 300s from Miyuka with the miss? Like, the consistency that they have is astonishing. But that one
19?
miss, Yeah,
I
19.
didn't even notice that. What is going on? Almost a 990k with a miss, but not going to be enough for Chile to hold on to that point.
Yeah, valiant effort
And
from Kniflocks there. Not going to be enough as well.
well, we'll get to see what Spain's strategy is up after that SV pick, because I think everyone expected that SV pick to come out from Spain. It's just about where they plan to go from there. I'm not exactly sure what to expect from this. We just saw an insane accuracy on Chile's side, which without the misses would have been enough to take the point, but they did just win that point on Rice, so they could easily go for something like Cutter and hope for more misses from the Chilean side, or they could go into something that Chile might be a little bit more uncomfortable with in the hybrid or long note area.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely opens up a couple more avenues, especially since they have that breakpoint to work with now. Can definitely be a little bit more fast and loose with their picks. Maybe pick something that they probably wouldn't have if things were still tied up 1-1 here. But definitely taking a bit of time to deliberate. Probably weren't expecting to find themselves in the situation 2-0 up this early on.
Yeah, we are still waiting for that pick from Spain. I'm guessing that they are conversing with each other to figure out what strategy they want to take, especially after seeing that victory on Black Lawn Finale. Or maybe they just didn't know it was their pick.
Yeah, everything goes out the window once the captain is gone. It's like, oh wait, we have to pick again?
And they're going into some Rice again. Guy Runs is the pick for Spain here, looking to capitalize on that win in Black Lawn Finale by going for some more Rice and hoping for some more consistency breaks from the Chilean side.
Yeah, absolutely. They saw some of those misses start to pop up, especially towards the end of the map. That back half really giving Chile a bit of trouble. So in a longer form map, might be able to find a couple of extra breaks, and especially if Spain can keep up that consistency, could bode well for them to try and go up 3-0. But if Chile has anything to say about it, they're going to make this as hard as possible.
Absolutely, and like we saw in the previous Rice pick, Muka did have that very dominant ratio, only getting that unfortunate miss and dropping a few points as a result of it, but that could still be enough, like even on a map, especially on a map as long as this, where that punishment of score from a miss is going to be a lot less because of how many notes there are. So that consistency is not going to matter quite as much unless Spain is just on their A game and keeping everything in their court.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are seeing a couple more substitutions come out. Little Demon Riri going to be coming in for Spain on this longer form pick, maybe giving one of their other players a bit of a break. This is a 4-minute map after all, so definitely going to be a little taxing for even some of the best players here.
Yeah, and it looks like Zan was switched out for Rizd on for this map. Little Demon Riri coming in for Spain. But it looks like we've got the start command getting into map number 3 of a possible 9 in Spain versus Chile. Chile hoping to get that break point right back so that they are in this match. Spain looking to expand their lead and continue the momentum from their first 2 points.
Yep, and it looks like we have 5 out of 6 players loaded in. See if we can get that last one in there. All good now as we get this third map underway, and we already see a couple of accuracy drops. I believe that was a full break.
Yeah, it's not, the client's not updating, so it looks like it's a break up to this point. The accuracy is also low enough to defend that, so a Little Demon Riri not starting on quite the right foot, giving Chile an advantage already in combo, but it was very, very, very early, so that score punishment is not going to be nearly as bad as it would be starting from here now that everyone's at that 400 combo mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little blip on the radar. Gonna start them off with just a couple fewer notes in that combo, but right now it is gonna be Chile holding on to the lead for right now. 99.9s for 2 of their players. Riz not too far behind as well. 99.86 for them. That being said, Spain hot on the tails. 99.9s for Crew K Fanboy, and 99.8 for It's Darius and Little Demon Riri as we get into this first little bit of a break going into the second quarter of the map.
Yeah, getting into the break, Muka making a huge difference right now, especially when you're comparing that to the lowest on Spain's side with that miss from Riri, giving about a 4,000 point buffer for between those two players and giving Chile a little bit of a comfortable lead. Like I said, this is very long. No count is very high, so misses are going to be less impactful than it would be in a shorter map. So this lead, while it doesn't look too big, I think does have room for a few mistakes, or at least one from Chile.
Yeah, that being said, definitely don't want to spot your opponent any sort of way back into this map, especially now we're over 2 minutes in, and the consistency across the board at an all-time high. Everybody's staying above that 99.8% mark, even with that miss from Riri. And as we make our way into this back half of the map, it's gonna come down to composure here. Who can keep those 300 counts to an absolute minimum, and who can keep those miss columns absolutely pristine.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a huge score gap between them, but we're getting into the second half. No misses aside from the early one from Little Demon Riri. Very consistent from both sides. And the accuracies are just very impressive from everyone in this lobby. Even with that miss, Riri still at the 99.83 range, which is just behind Riz CL. That miss actually seeming to matter quite a bit, and obviously the insane accuracy from Muka giving just that little bit of edge, allowing Chile to have a more significant lead.
Yeah, absolutely, and the supporting accuracies from Muka's teammates, Knifelox and Wrist, putting in some work as well to ensure that that lead stays intact. As we make it into the last quarter of the map, it's going to come down to the wire here. All the accuracies across the board. You can make comparisons across the lobby. We see Knifelox and Crew K Fanboy basically notched neck and neck, and it's really just Muka standing head and shoulders above everybody else in this lobby, making the difference right now for Chile to try and claw this breakpoint back as we make it into the last minute of the map.
Yeah, we're seeing the last extended jump stream section coming up here. Just one more bit left for them to stay consistent through, and all that Chile needs to do is keep their combos a little bit of an action. Oh, as I say that, Riz CL drops, and that score gap is getting really small right at the end. Oh no!
That was a very clean drop, though. They're going to be able to make it up to a 400 combo cap. There's still enough time left in the map for Chile or for Spain to make some inroads into this lead. We saw it shrink just a little bit, but it's really just the accuracy from Miyuka keeping Chile above water right now. It is very close. There's only a few.
They made it to the 400 combo mark. They're not losing any more score from the miss, and that's the end. And they hold on just barely.
15 300s from Miyuka. What is going on here?
What? 999.7, almost 999.8. What is that ratio?
We just saw in the previous match with Brazil, we were losing our minds over a 999.5. Miyuka just taking that is like, I see that score. I raise you 200 points.
Yeah, that's a 240-to-1 ratio. Just saying.
That's ridiculous. And let's not discount the rest of the players. Everybody scoring above a 990k on a map as long as that. The amount of consistency required of all 6 players is ridiculous. With that being said, Chile going to be able to notch their first point on the board, have an opportunity to notch things up 2-2 here if they make the right pick. That being said, we're running out of rice picks. Gonna have to dive into that lower half of the map pool at some point. Gonna be interesting to see who decides to dip their toes in there as this match progresses.
After that win, though, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Chile just go back into Rice. I think Econine Borderline would not be a bad choice to potentially bring this match back to a tie game. Chile looking to bring this to an effective best of 5 after the first 4 maps, but they need to win this next one in order to keep that momentum.
Yeah, to your point, I could absolutely see Econine Borderline coming out. A bit of a faster map than Guy runs, I believe, just based on the rate. And it's just another consistency test. It's just pure jump stream, but some very awkwardly placed jump stream. Definitely tests your ability to read your way through it.
Yeah, those anchors can definitely be a little tough, but we're seeing Soy Blue. We're digging into the hybrid section of the map pool, and we're seeing this map for the first time this weekend.
Alrighty, a bit of uncharted territory here for all of us. The first time this map has been picked so far this weekend, and an opportunity for Chile to capitalize on that breakpoint they take right back from Spain to make this 2-2. Would not be surprised to see some substitutions come out.
We're seeing the same teams stay in for Chile. We're seeing Darius get removed from the lobby, and Enthalpy comes in to replace. It's looking like there might not be any other replacements for either of these teams, so this might be the 6 players we're seeing go into Soy Blue Hybrid 2, but Fast CL does replace Wrist for this map. So we're just continuing to see some substitutions, but once the players get the right teams in, we should be ready to go for pick number 4.
Yeah, it's always nice to see the team dynamics start to come into play. Who comes in for certain picks, and it's not going to be fast. It's going to be Jean de Rin coming in for Chile. So it's one of those game time decisions. It's like who at the right, putting your best players forward at the right time is of the utmost importance, especially when the margins are this close.
Absolutely. I don't think we're going to be seeing any more replacements from Spain, just making sure that Chile has the right team, and then we should be good to go. Just waiting for everyone to be ready.
Yep, the MP settings comes out. Want to make sure everything's in order. Want to make sure the mods are all correct. And we should be seeing that MP start command come out very soon.
Another MP settings. Everyone's ready. MP start command is out, and we're getting ready to go in. Enthalpy, Crew K Fanboy, and Little Demon Riri for Spain on this map, and Muka, Niflox, and Jean de Rin coming in for Chile on this first hybrid of the match. First actually, no, that's not true. We had the SV map, but first within the hybrids and long notes that we've seen for this match, and potentially we'll be seeing more, especially with how much we have left of this match and how close this is.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely living up to the billing. Seed 16 and 17. Winner with the tall task of taking on Brazil in the round of 16. Let's see how these players do.
Yeah, a little bit of a rocky start from Jean de Rin. Crew K Fanboy holding on very strong along with Muka and Niflox. That difference just being made by Jean having a little bit of an accuracy drop in that intro, but catching up to Riri, and I think Chile has the overall accuracy lead now.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting to trend over to the right-hand side. But that being said, Spain is not making it easy as we make our way into the second third of the map. The overall average accuracy, a couple 200s coming out from Little Demon Riri, gonna damage their accuracy just a little bit, but Crew K Fanboy climbing into that 99.9% range to try and contest against Miyuka as we make our way into the back half of the map.
Yeah, this is still very close. Mistakes can mean a whole lot, especially with a more brutal long note density. As we get into this second half, we'll be able to see how these two teams feel about long notes, and it looks like the accuracy advantage is getting even better for the Chilean side as Riri starts dropping some accuracy down to the 99.5s range.
Yeah, a couple more 200s coming out from them out of that last LN section. Just chopping a couple of the releases, trying to maintain the combo. 6 still left in this lobby as we make our way into the last quarter of the map. And it looks like they're going to be able to find the first break here as we make our way into it. And that's going to help expand the lead for Chile going into the last 1/8 of the map.
Yeah, and that's going to be a pretty big lead. Would take a little bit of a collapse in this ending from Chile to give that lead over to Spain, and it looks like Chile will successfully bring this to a 2-2 match. Best of 5 incoming after this, and Enthalpy solidifying that lead for Chile with that miss there. Looks like 3 full combos for Chile versus the 1 on Spain will give them the victory.
Yep, another very impressive performance all around, but just a little bit too much for Spain to handle as we are now tied 2-2 with Spain up to pick next.
Map pool's getting a little bit smaller. Comfortable picks are going away. We've got 2 Rice picks left in the map pool available. We got Econai, Borderline, and Cutter open. And then we've got the Q Shell and the Hybrids, and then all 3 long note maps open. And this is where the strategy gets really important from these players, especially with so little variation in the pool left.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really going to come down to who can hold on longer on those LN picks. Going to be a bit of a consistency test for all players involved. Would not be surprised if we saw Spain jump back up into the upper half of the map pool, go for something like Cutter or Econai. But it's going to be Xeria, so they're going to be the ones to try out the LN pool here.
Yeah, dipping into that release pool, those hybrids may be a little bit on the awkward side because it's hard to have balance. Like, especially, it's hard to be balanced at many different kinds of skill sets, and you can really focus the right players into the maps when it's pure long notes. We'll have to see if there are any substitutions. We already see FazCL coming in for Chile. Haven't seen any replacements on the Spanish side, though.
Yeah, I feel like this is probably the most comfortable LN team that Spain has. Could be proven wrong. There might be some like pure LN players on their roster that we haven't seen yet. But that being said, it is going to be the one substitution so far. Faz coming in for Chile. Miuka, the eternal anchor for Chile, probably never going to leave the lobby. Jean de Rin, also a bit more of an LN-oriented player, going to opt to stay in as well.
Yeah, and it looks like this is going to be the set of 6 players for this as the start command comes in, and we will start Xeria as map 5 of a possible 9. Spain looking to defend themselves against the momentum that Chile just got after those 2 wins and to bring it into 3-2 territory for themselves.
Yep, and we see Miuka running the mirror mod here, probably opting to do some of these patterns on the offhand. Definitely one of those picks where you want to be as comfortable as possible. There's a lot of very abrasive releases and abrasive patterning to deal with.
Absolutely, and these releases are really rough with the coordination that's required. It doesn't look too bad when you're watching it, but they can be extremely difficult to get good accuracy on. And we're already seeing some of that accuracy issue, FazCL and Riri being below the 99.7 along with Crew K Fanboy. But accuracy is in general very close as FazCL drops into the 99.5 range. Miuka holding on as the Rock in the 99.9 range, giving the accuracy lead to Chile for the time being. But if continual accuracy drops start coming out from Jean de Rin and FazCL, we could definitely see the score starting to inch over to the Spanish side.
Yeah, absolutely. The map is already approaching the second half, and we see accuracy start to stabilize just a little bit. A few 200s coming out here and there from players in the lobby, but right now it seems like the average accuracy is trending the way of Chile, thanks to Miuka's performance so far, being backed up by Jean de Rin and Faz as well.
Yeah, Faz and Jean de Rin averaging around the same as Enthalpy and Crew K Fanboy, and then Miuka just having that huge accuracy lead over Riri, giving that score lead. As we get into the last third with some of the more difficult patterns, could definitely see some chokes coming out in this ending, but as long as nothing happens, Chile should be able to lock down this pick, though that score lead is getting a little bit smaller as the accuracy stays pretty consistent on the Spanish side.
Yeah, as Spain recovers some of their accuracy, climbing back up into that 99.7 range, we start to see the dents come in here. But unless somebody on this Chilean side has a major slip up this late on into the map, it looks like Chile is going to be able to hang on here and make it 3-2 now.
And it's on their own pick. This momentum swing is huge right now as Spain, starting off with that 2-0 lead, has now turned into a 3-2 advantage for Chile on their own pick. And we'll have to see how they approach this. Q Shell could be coming out, but they could also just go for LN3 to take advantage of that accuracy lead that they had on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if there was ever a time to get a V1SS as dominant as Miyuka's, now is that time. That was an incredible run from them. That being said, everyone across the board putting their best foot forward, but that little bit extra pushing Chile forward to take the lead here.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll have to see what comes out. Almagest, though, the LN density pick does come out. I don't know if I would have gone for this before Feel My Rhythm, but, you know, keeping up with that LN advantage that they seem to have over Spain, as we saw in Xeria, definitely a good plan.
Yeah, absolutely. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Might change the style a little bit, but you still got to be able to maintain those release what's expected of you on the releases as the map progresses. Very easy to find yourself slipping up with some slider breaks as you're trying to read your way through the map.
Yeah, and it looks like Quenya is coming in for the Spanish side to replace Riri, but there are no substitutions on the Chilean side up to this point. So this may be the two teams we're looking for on Almagest. And looks like Quenya is coming in for that density purpose, maybe a little bit uncomfortable on the releases that we would have seen in Xeria, but can read through Almagest just fine. So I'm interested to see how this ends up going. Could backfire for Chile if the Spanish side is stronger on these kinds of long notes versus the coordination aspect that Xeria has.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to really be up to see if the overall average accuracy for Spain can match up with what Chile can bring to the table, or if any of their players can just straight up match the accuracy that Miyuka had on that first LN pick. I feel like that's really going to make a bit of a difference here as the players are ready. We are going to get into the sixth map of this best of 9. Spain looking to try and keep things even. Chile looking to try and push the advantage and make it match point here.
Yeah, and reminder, we've seen Miyuka and actually Chile be a little bit on the inconsistent side when it came to combo. We haven't seen too many misses from Spain on the other hand, so I think, Spain might end up starting to look for just ways to take advantage of that consistency that Chile has potentially been lacking on some of these picks.
Yeah, absolutely. And as this map progresses, we see the players going through this opening gauntlet. It looks like Spain's faring just a tiny bit better as Fast find a couple of drops here.
And that was just before the 400 combo mark, so that's still going to be quite the score gap to give over to Spain right away. And this map is super short. I'm only just past a minute and a half in total length, so that miss is going to cause a huge deficit in terms of score, as we're already starting to see with Spain being very consistent on the combo.
Yeah, so and it was to your point, Spain has had these more consistent performances. Chile has been the ones finding the combo breaks, and as we make our way into the back half of the map, the overall accuracy, despite Miyuka's best efforts in that 99.9 range, we see Anthelby and Quenya staying in lockstep with them, being able to contest and try and make this lead stick for the side of Spain.
Going into this ending, which is the densest and the hardest part of this match, of this map, no one having too big of accuracy issues. Faststeel just not having been able to increase their accuracy after that first miss, not able to bring it up high enough to allow for the other two players on his team to come back in this match, and we're getting out of that ending, and it looks like Spain will be taking that break point right back from Chile, bringing it to a 3-3 game.
Oh my goodness, just trading blow for blow, really living up to the expectations that we were building for this match. And it is, as you said, 3-3 now, with breakpoints being traded back and forth between these teams.
Absolutely, and it is back to Spain's pick. I don't know what I honestly, if I was Spain, I would go with Ikenai Borderline here. Or either that or Cutter. I don't think sticking your head into the long notes or the other hybrid remaining, or the last two of those maps in the long note and hybrid category is a good idea here. I think Rice is the way to go. Make it so that Chile has to perform and keep consistent combos to win these maps. And Cutter and Ikenai Borderline are both in that range where they can be very awkward to stay consistent on with combo.
Yeah, you really just need one player to have a bad run in the grand scheme of things to really take advantage. And I mean, I'm going to agree with you here. Ikenai and Cutter feel like the two picks that Spain have to work with here to really push themselves towards that match point.
But no matter what, neither of these teams are going to be losing this match quite yet. We have at least 2 more maps to get through, and Cutter comes out from Spain, digging back into the rice, looking for the misses from the Chilean side to take advantage, and hopefully, and this will bring it to match point for one of these two teams. Whether it's a break point or an own point, we'll have to see how they perform before we know that.
Yeah, and the other thing for sure, we're going
Wait, that's not the right map. Please.
We're being scammed. Somebody wanted to hear Ikenai Borderline.
Yeah,
I feel there was a present.
Mint did in
Yes.
chat.
The brief cameo appearance of Ikenai Borderline. Before we load up Cutter here, it is going to be Rice 5 coming out, and I was going to say we're definitely going to see some substitutions here. Both these teams showing that they have a preferred Rice lineup, and as we bring up the lobby, that is what we see. Miuka, Niflox, and Riz CL checking in, and Little Demon Riri, Kruke Fanboy, and it's Darius555 coming in for Spain to try and push their teams to that match point situation.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen these two teams put these players out for pretty much all of the Rice picks that we've seen in this match, and it makes sense that they are out now. We just have to wait until everyone's readied up to get ready to go for map 7 out of a potential 9. We're getting closer to that tiebreaker moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at this point, this late on into the match, you really start to wonder how the players are feeling with regards to nerves, because you see those points go back and forth, and you're just like, man, if only I did that tiny bit better, maybe we could have gotten that point. But you've got to put that behind you. You've got to focus on the map ahead of you, and it is going to be Cutter to try and make a match point situation happen.
Yeah, this is the kind of moment that really shows off the mental strength of all of the competitors here, and there are 6 people on each of these teams that need to make sure that they keep their mental in check, especially on a map like Cutter that has so many potential points for drops with the mini jacks, the triple jacks, and the really fast bursts throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now we see Chile eking out a tiny bit of an advantage. It's Darius dropping down below that 99.7 mark, and the overall accuracy going to be trending the way of Chile as all players make it to that 400 combo cap and into the second quarter of the map. There was a bit of a lag spike there.
I don't. Okay, yeah, that was just client. So that was, but that's a miss from Yuka. That doesn't look like a client miss. That's exactly what I think Spain was looking for, trying to get Miuka or any of the Chilean players to have a little bit of consistency issues, and it looks like it's going to start paying off as long as the Spanish players can keep their combos to the rest of the chart.
Yeah, absolutely. But right now it's Niflox for Chile picking up the slack here from that miss from Miuka. 99.8 being contested by Kruke. That's going to keep the lead over in Spain's court as Miuka makes it back up over that 400 combo cap. Last third of the map still to go. There's still plenty of things that can happen. This map is littered with choke points in this back half.
Yeah, and Miuka's back up to the 400 combo mark with exceptional accuracy, trying to get above Kruke Fanboy with Niflox backing him up at that 99.8 range. So that lead is going to start shrinking now that that combo advantage is gone. And we can already see that bar getting a little bit smaller. It's just about whether there's enough time for Miuka's extremely strong accuracy to start bringing that score back.
Yeah, absolutely. And all eyes on Riri and Darius. They need to hold, but Riz is going to be the one finding the miss here for Chile, and that's going to help Spain maintain this lead, and it looks like they're going to be able to take this 2-match point as this map begins to wind down. It looked a little dicey, but Spain comes out ahead, and it is now 4-3 match point for Spain.
Yeah, but it is Chile's pick, so they will have the pick of out of the last 3 maps in this pool about what they want to go with before a potential tiebreaker. But they're going to need to pick well, because the tiebreaker is their only hope of winning this match now. And I mean, Ikenai, I think, is getting ignored at this point. I would not go back into Rice's Chile, but I think both Q Shell and LN3 are both very good options, as we've seen some very good accuracy on both the hybrids and long nuts from Chile. It's just been a matter of those consistency and combo drops that have been giving away points.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see a world where Ikenai Borderline gets picked here. I could definitely see Feel My Rhythm coming out from the side of Chile. We saw Riz leave the lobby right before we cut back to the map hole. I wonder if there's some substitutions being made right now as Chile prepare their pick. They're probably just deliberating. Do we want to go to the side of hybrids, or do we want to go to the side of LNs?
Yeah, definitely a lot of important deliberations, and I think at this point you'd go with what's comfortable and has that. I think it has to be between Q Shell and Feel My Rhythm, but between those two, it's all down to whichever one Chile feels more comfortable and consistent on.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's gonna be Ikenai though.
They completely what?
Toph, okay, I have the script here. You lied to me. This wasn't on the script. I guess we can toss this out now.
This wasn't supposed to be on the script.
Okay, so
what
a bit
is
of
this. This is a wild
defying
pick.
our expectations. Like, expectations are out the window now. We see Faz come in for Wrist, and I believe Spain is going to keep this roster. Riri, Kruke, and Darius are going to be ones contesting. They have had the consistency on these Rice picks to take these points away from Chile. It's going to be very interesting to see how this Chilean roster performs, because they have no more room for error. It's either tiebreaker or bust in this situation.
Yeah, important to note. I mean, I already mentioned this, but the overall accuracy on the Chilean side has been better than Spain. It's all about keeping combo. Maybe they're hoping that with this being so short, the consistency won't matter quite as much, and they can just get through this with the full combos and bring this to tiebreaker. I'm not sure. Or maybe they just feel more comfortable on Ikenai Borderline than anything else that's left in the pool.
Yeah, it might just come down to comfort at the end of the day, but definitely a risky pick by our standards. It's going to be up to them to prove us wrong. As the MP start command comes out, it is going to be Ikenai Borderline to see if Chile can take this to tiebreaker, or if Spain will be moving on in the winner's bracket. Let's see how these players do.
Yeah, it's last chance for this tiebreaker in this match. If you want to see that tiebreaker, give energy to Chile here. Or if you are a fan of Spain, you got to give it to them too, so that they can avoid that tiebreaker moment. But this is a very short map. It'll be over in the blink of an eye, so you got to do it fast.
For sure, and as we make our way into the map, I mean, this is just a consistency test to end all consistency tests. This is a very quick map, and Needfox is going to find the first break here very early on.
That is a very early break. The accuracy was pretty solid, though, and should be able to build it back up pretty quickly. But this is a very short map, like I said. Not a whole lot of time to bring that score lead back. But looking to get back up to that 400 combo, especially with that miss having been in the first 400 combo, is going to help lessen the blow that miss had. And now that they are back, but that is such an unfortunate miss.
But we retraded.
That is a trade, so it's not going to be as damaging here. That red bar is pretty small here, and that accuracy advantage that Chile should have on these kinds of maps is going to start shrinking that even more. And we're starting to see some blue.
We're going into the back half of the map. It is Darius and Kruke Fanboy holding off this relentless charge from Miyuka. 99.97 from them, but it is Kruke and Darius keeping things afloat for Spain. The average accuracy on their side, keeping them in the lead, but it is so close. The margins are so fine as Faz and Needflox climb in accuracy, about to hit that 99.7 mark as Riri tries to catch up as well. They took quite a bit of damage from that miss as we make it into the last quarter of the map.
And that blue line looks pretty solid right now. Just a little bit more left of this jump stream patterning. And as long as they're able to keep it going, Chile should be able to lock down this point. 99.98 from Muka right now, leading the charge, bringing that score lead up and trying to keep it together. And Chile is going to take it and take it to tiebreaker. What?
Oh my god. If that is the performance that was needed at that moment from Miyuka. A 9992, 26,300 run, able to offset the misses from Kniflocks, and a little bit unfortunate from Riri to find those misses in the middle of the map. But that is the kind of consistency you need from your anchor to force a tiebreaker situation. And Toph, this is our first tiebreaker of the weekend.
It sure is, and we're going to be going into Big Daddy as our tiebreaker here. Best team wins. Final chance for either of these teams to survive in the winner's bracket. The loser will go on to face the winner will go on to face Brazil in the winner's bracket. Loser will get knocked into the loser's bracket to face Norway next week. This is all that matters now.
Yeah, absolutely. These teams gotta have a deliberation. Hopefully they practice the tiebreaker. Probably, for a matchup as close as this, maybe expected the tiebreaker to come in here, but definitely don't want to go into this map blind. Do you want to give us a bit of a primer of what these teams are in for? You did make the map after all.
There's a whole lot that these two teams are in for. We've got some bursts, some very fast bursts that average to about 300 BPM, maybe even a little higher in some spots. We got some 190 BPM mini jacks in one of the sections, some very dense 190 BPM inverse, and some really difficult release and coordination sections that these players are going to have to go through all in one map.
Yeah, very befitting of a tiebreaker for this sort of stage. Definitely want to put the players through their paces. No room for comfort. You are tested across all skill sets. And it looks like we're going to see Enthalpy coming in to back up Riri and Crew K Fanboy. No substitutions on the side of Chile. Muka, Niflox, and Faz, as it stands, going to be the ones to try and bring things home for Chile. But Spain is going to make this as hard as humanly possible. Oh my goodness.
Looks like we've got the good lucks coming in chat. We have our two teams, Little Demon Riri, Crew K Fanboy, and Enthalpy on the Spanish side. Muka, Niflox, and Faz CL coming in for the Chilean side on the tiebreaker. The final map of this match, 9 out of 9, and whoever wins this will move on in the winner's bracket.
Yeah, a lot to play for here. You want to keep your tournament run alive for as long as possible, and going in that winner's side is going to be the way to do it. Good luck to all these players. Lend your support to your favorite team as they contest Big Daddy.
Absolutely, they're going to need your energy to perform. Hit sounds, I forgot to change them.
It can be forgiven. This is the longest map in this pool by about 11 seconds, so there's plenty of room for these teams to operate with misses. As we said with some of the other longer form maps, not going to be as detrimental, but you definitely want to keep your runs as clean as possible.
Yeah, we're getting into that first burst section right away, and we're not seeing any oh, well, never mind. Don't worry about what I was about to say. It's traded right back by Riri, though, right after that 400 combo mark, and that's looking like it favored Chile a little bit more. It looked like Riri had some better accuracy, and because of that miss, dropped a lot more. But on top of that, Enthalpy holding down at that 99.38, just behind Faz CL, and Muka absolutely putting on a show at that 99.94 through the first section as we get into a more mini-jack tech-based section.
Yeah, going into the second quarter of the map, it is currently Crew K Fanboy with the task of standing up to Miyuka's accuracy. And it looks like Miyuka is going to win that battle, but Kniflocks finds another drop here going into the second quarter of the map, and that's going to damage the lead just a tiny bit for Chile, but the overall accuracy discrepancy going to be able to keep the lead there for just another moment.
But there's some accuracy drops as well. Looks like Faz was dropping down a little bit more, and that lead is very small, but Enthalpy does end up trading that miss back and gives Chile quite a lead as Fanboy also drops, and that's 2 drops right before the break, giving some free accuracy and score straight to Chile as we start going into a lighter section before we get into a more coordination-heavy LN section coming up.
Yeah, back half of the map still to come, and right now Chile having the largest lead they've had to work with so far throughout this tiebreaker, and it's really just coming off of the back of Miyuka, that untouchable 99.9% accuracy. Next closest from Spain is Fanboy, who has done well to recover after that earlier miss, but it is going to take...
Now they can see their scores. They know that Chile's in the lead by that 12,700 score line, and they know what they need to. Spain knows what they need to do to potentially try and get that score back, and Chile knows that they just need to hold their composure through this last third of the map.
Oh, but there goes Miyuka. There goes the highest accuracy being dropped from Chile, and that's going to give some inroads for Spain to work with. It was a relatively clean drop from Miyuka. Now Faz, the only one from Chile, holding on to the full combo. The only full combo left in this lobby. Yeah, but their accuracy is the lowest in the lobby, so definitely doing their part, holding on to the combo, keeping the consistency, but they need to pick up the pace unless they want to, unless they give any road back in for Spain here.
And everyone's back up to the 400 combo, and Chile maintains the lead as we get into the final bit of Rice with a little bit of a dumpy kind of burst section or stream section with some intermittent tech patterns, but Spain really needs to hold on to that accuracy if they want to take this back. We're going to have one more long note section as well, which could potentially favor Spain, but that is a miss from Riri, and that's going to help Chile maintain their lead here.
Oh my goodness, it is coming down to the wire. That miss not going to help Spain here, but as the density picks up on these LNs, the recovery becomes just a little bit easier. We can already see Riri about to climb into that 400 combo cap. We'll stem the bleeding just a little bit, but there's not a lot of map left to play with here. And that being said, the recovery from Chile, despite the couple of misses from Kniflocks and Miyuka, the overall accuracy, the team performance coming out just a bit on top as this map begins to wind down. I think the writing is on the wall, Toph. It is going to be Chile coming out on top and taking it 5-4.
And that is one FC on the side of Chile from FastCL, holding on for the team despite the lowest accuracy on that in the lobby. Holding on to that combo for the whole map helped immensely, and Chile will win on the tiebreaker by a number that I didn't actually see. By 11,000. So that was very close. What an insane match.
Definitely lived up to the billing. What can you expect from the closest seeds in this tournament, 16 and 17 delivering, but this is our first upset, the tiniest of upsets. I mean, as much of an upset as 17 beating 16 can be, but it is going to be Chile moving on with the unenviable task of taking on Brazil in the round of 16.
Yeah. Not the most fun opponent to see as your next one in line, but with that, Spain has not been knocked out of the tournament either. They are just moved down to the losers bracket, where they will face Norway next week to attempt to move into the quarterfinals.
Absolutely. And with that being said, that'll do it for this tiny block of matches. We hope you enjoyed everything so far this weekend. And Toph, I really want to show my support for these teams. Can you tell me any ways I can do that?
I absolutely can. We actually have 2 ways to do it this year. We usually only have one, which I'll talk about right now. We have banners available in the Osu store. Support your team, support your country's players and the prize pool and the tournament by getting a banner that you can put up on your profile. And if you choose the correct team that wins the tournament, you get to keep your banner for an extra long time. Now, that was one of them. I think there's a second one. Do you have any information about that?
Oh, absolutely. We have a donation page where you can make direct donations to the prize pool for this tournament. If you want to show even more support give any generous donations to increase the amount of rewards that the players get for partaking in arguably one of the most prestigious tournaments Mania has to offer. You can definitely go ahead and do that now. Oh my goodness, what a way to add even more support to these amazing players.
Absolutely, but what an insane match to finish this block off with. We have quite a nice break here. 8 hours of downtime before we get into the next match, which is going to be the United States versus Australia. Seed 11 versus 19, I think. So still pretty close in terms of that seeding. A very interesting match, and I'm sure you're not going to want to miss it. You have anything else to say before we sign off?
Nope. Congratulations to all the teams that have won so far, and we hope to see you guys in about 8 hours.